use any wallet. So you can use a wallet like MetaMask or Phantom. You can use a hardware wallet. Um, pretty much any wallet that Privy supports on our website.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Brian. So another question is, you're talking about session keys and how Glider use, session keys to, make sure, like that's like the non-custodial part of Glider. So the question is it possible that these session keys, like, can they be compromised?
Good question. So the session keys that give Glider a slim set of permissions on these wallets. One, we keep the session key protected in GCP. So GCP is Google's cloud service. They have a key management system, KMS, which protects those seed phrases. This is the same system that protects Privy and the non-custodial wallets that they create, or rather custodial wallets that they create. And so the session key is stored away in some data center that Google protects. If there's a breach at Google, there are far bigger problems in the world because so many things are protected by this. We're talking about like big companies like Uber, like all of their API keys are protected by Google. We're talking about Coinbase because Coinbase uses Google for their key management system. So that's one thing. Now, let's say something is catastrophic and indeed somebody has somehow gotten into Google's secure data enclave, right? What happens then? What would need to happen, right? Because the portfolios that you've created have already been signed by you with that slim set of permissions. What would need to happen is somebody needs to basically get into our GitHub. They need to be able to change the code in our GitHub. It needs to have a second approval, right? That second approval would take a lot of effort because that means somebody else on the team has to approve it. Then, after that point, it needs to be deployed to production. And then you need to come in and you need to sign a new message, which would feel very awkward because many of you know you don't ever sign new messages on Glider unless you're creating a new portfolio. So, all of this is to say is one, the first level of protection is Google, right? The likelihood of Google getting hacked on any of this is incredibly low, like, near zero. And then there is about 10 different steps, which would require multiple different people, including the Glider team, to be compromised. And then lastly, it would require a signature from you at the very end. And so, yeah, there's so many steps there to actually have that attack happen. Maybe I shouldn't have told you how the attack would happen, but hopefully that gives you a peace of mind that there's like 20 different steps to get there.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And another question is, how do you see Glider fitting into the intent-based future of DeFi? Looking at the account abstraction, smart intent, on-chain agents, and AI, So
Yeah. Look, I think a lot of this is about education too. So why don't we talk about what an intent is? I think that's the starting point for those of you who don't know. An intent basically means that you want to do something, but you don't necessarily want to say how to do it, right? So an example might be, I want to order Chinese food, right? That's great. When I go and order it, I don't need to worry about, okay, who's the delivery driver who's going to pick it up. I don't need to worry about, how the payment processor is working when I use my credit card, right? And so the intent is saying what you want, and it is letting somebody else go and figure out how to do it, right? So in that case, Uber figures out how to deliver the food. Stripe figures out how the credit card gets processed. That's an intent. And so when you think about trading and what an intent is in trading, you basically say like, okay, I'm holding USDC and the portfolio I've created on Glider is Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum. That's your intent, right? You let Glider decide how to go from USDC into those three assets. We handle all that for you, which is great. We pay for your gas, so you don't have to worry about gas. We find the best pricing through all of these DEX aggregators. And then if any bridging has to occur as well, we handle that too. The cool part about that is that lots of these intent-based solvers, these people who actually, go and find the best paths for execution for you guys, they do this all instantly, right? And so it's very fast. Um, typical bridging, if you think about like the canonical bridges or the native bridges of the world, can take like hours to days, right? And that's a really crappy experience. When we use intent-based solvers, they can bridge things within a matter of seconds, right? And so that's the level of experience that we want for you guys. And we got to constantly make it better, right? Like, we don't use just one provider because we want them all to compete. And we want to make sure that you guys get the best service on that front. And so, yeah, again, if you guys are using a bridge that is taking you days to, hours to days, like there are better solutions out there where they already have liquidity across these multiple chains. Those are the solutions and the providers that we are using at Glider. And so, yeah, hopefully that answered your question. Intent-based is the way that things are going to be because they improve the user experience and the speed of things. There's still a lot of things on the speed front we know that we have to do with Glider. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yep, thank you very much. So another one from Pseudopet. So he said, in the future, is there a plan to integrate two-factor authentication to better secure our account?
Yeah, it's a great one. So if you come in with a wallet, I don't think two-factor authentication makes a lot of sense. That's just another friction point for users. We can indeed turn on two-factor authentication for email and X login. We may. I don't know if people would find that annoying though, or if they would think that that's an extra layer of security. Hopefully you have two-factor authentication on your X and or email already. And so in that case, it almost feels like, just another level of like two-factor authentication that's already linked to an account that has two-factor authentication. Feels a little bit overkill. It might just be, more steps for people to log in, which might be frustrating. So yes, we do have the ability to turn that on. I think we will get a sense of what users are feeling over time and see if it makes sense to actually turn it on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brian. So another one is from Dul. So he said, Glider has options to log in with emails and other social options, right? How does this work? Then second question is, does Glider create a wallet for all those users, or they have to create wallets with their, with more Web2 friendly platforms like Coinbase before they can create portfolios? Then he said, I'm talking about users that prefer to fund
Yep.
with stuff like credit card. I'm not sure if you get that question.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So first things first, when you log in with email or you log in with X or any of the socials that we have, we use a service called Privy. And so Privy is a company that is owned by Stripe now. Privy does the tough work of keeping that seed phrase that is created from your email or from your X safe. And so that is them keeping that seed phrase safe. It is in a what's called a hardware security module. I don't need to go into the specifics of that right now. There's a whole other conversation, but you can look it up. It's called an HSM. And those are kept safe by either Google or Amazon, like big cloud providers. And so you never get to like, you don't get to you don't necessarily need to see your seed phrase because they're keeping it safe. You can export it though. So if you do log in with one of those, there is the option to export it on our settings. If you did want to export it to your MetaMask or Phantom or take full custody of that, I would leave that to people who are more Web3 native. If you're Web2 native, don't worry about it. It's something that, big companies like Stripe and Google are keeping safe for you. Second question is, how does it work with sort of like centralized exchanges and on-ramping funds from them? So today our audience is very crypto native. we will slowly, bring this to something that is more and more Web 2 normie friendly. And so, yes, you can send funds from Coinbase to a glider portfolio that you've created. You can use the QR code. You can just copy the address and send. That works very nicely. But we will make that process far more seamless over time. And then when it comes to the creation of the portfolios and how that works. So to explain that again, you come in with a wallet or you log in with X or email. That wallet creates a new set of wallets every time you create a portfolio. And actually, maybe I can just share my screen to show that. That might be easier to explain rather than trying to talk about it. Give me a second. I will share my screen with you guys so you can actually see what I'm talking about.
All eyes on Brian's screen.
All right, can you guys see this?
It's still load. Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, I can make it a little bit bigger. All right, so if you go to your dashboard and you go to a particular portfolio, let's say this DeFi token mix, right? So this is the Glider main account. This little button, we've tucked it away because we don't think it's that important for most users, but this little button gives you the wallet addresses for this portfolio. So if I make this smaller and I go into a different one, right, you'll notice that this is a different set of wallets. These wallets are the non-custodial wallets. The only thing that protects them is your seed phrase. So there's no seed phrases associated with these wallets except your original one. All right. And if you wanted to send funds, we're base specific right now. You can send funds to this, just copy it, put it into your Coinbase account, send funds. And yeah, so the wallets are there. If you want to click into them and look at the actual underlying transactions, this will take you to Basescan and you can see the swaps. Again, I wouldn't go into this unless you're like a Web3 crypto native and you're really curious. This is like way too much information for most people to care about. But it's all there. It's all transparent. There's no surprises. So yeah, hopefully that clears some questions up.
Yeah, it does. So we've got so many interesting questions. So the first one is that Tushar. So he said, are there any possibilities for more blocks in future to create portfolio which are a little more flexible? Like if the price dropped by some percentage, then do this. If it rises by some percentage, then sell.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. So a
So
couple
that's
things that are interesting here. So yes, we will build out more building so many that we want to build. It'll take us a little bit of time as always, and a little bit of testing. But yes, price action, things like watching particular price move. Lending, a big one, looping. One of the questions that I just saw mentioned too is, can Glider be used as a airdrop tool? Yes. Glider is not built solely for airdrop, tooling, right? This is about long-term investing. But one of the best things about Glider is that it constantly produces transactions, right? And if Base, for example, is looking at transactions as a way to reward users, and remember, these are real transactions, you're trading volume. These are ways for you to generate transactions continuously over time. The airdrops themselves all get dropped to these non-custodial wallets, which are owned by none other than you. And so anything that you do that is airdrop related or point stacking related to assets that you hold within your wallet are all of the benefits that you get as the owner of those wallets, right? That's really key to Glider, right? Like you own the underlying assets. So anything that is associated with those underlying assets is something that you keep, right? This is not a vault structure, right? When you put money into a vault, somebody else could get that airdrop, right? This is important. You get to keep the underlying assets. You get the utility of the underlying assets. Um, that's very important. That is a very unique feature of Glider.
So these are
Um,
interesting questions. Thank you so much, Brian. So you said, when we Glider integrate usernames instead of exposing our wallet, some people might want to share strategies, but doesn't want to expose their address. So when is that
Great
feature
question.
coming?
I think privacy is on the minds of everybody right now, right? I think maybe you guys have seen Zcash and everyone talking about private transactions. So a couple things. One, if you'd like to use Glider in an entirely private way, we will have that functionality soon, right? Your portfolios will not appear on the Explore page. Nobody will know that you're using Glider, right? The only way that they can find out if you're using Glider is basically for you to tell them, okay? So that's one thing. That will be coming. And then there's levels to this as well. So let's say you have a portfolio that you only want to share with a set group of friends. We will have a way for you to password gate these portfolios. Or maybe you're a KOL who wants to give access to a portfolio that you're creating, but only to specific people. You can do that very soon. So once we have an ability to password protect or like even gate by the wallet who can access a particular strategy, we will have that. So yes, privacy is on our minds. Remember, we've built this in a way that everything is non-commingled, and so that's important too. When you use a portfolio, your funds are never kept um, with anybody else's. They are siloed just into your own non-custodial wallets. This is true when you copy a portfolio too. You create your own set of wallets. They do not get commingled with anybody else's funds. There is good reason why we designed Glider that way. So yes, um, privacy is coming. It's something that we think is very important for people who want to keep their identities secret and or want to gate access to really interesting portfolios that they're creating because they think that there is some alpha in that or they don't want everybody else knowing what they're doing. So okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. So this is from Yankee. So he said, we have currently partnered up with Li-Fi for protocols implementation. In order to get Glider to work with more chains, will there be more partnership with different protocols?
100%. Um, guys, we've talked to every single major L2. Not only that, many of them have approached us. And so, just to list a long list of protocols, these are all ones you know, right? Binance Smart Chain or BNB Chain, Monad, Mega ETH, Arbitrum, Optimism, Linea, Plume, of course, Solana, Sui, um, even like much smaller ones. Oh, like Katana is a new one. The list goes on, right? There's many chains that we already have conversations with. We want to get you guys, yeah, Barachain. No, the list goes on. Barachain is very eager for Glider to join Barachain. Our standing is that it's very important to get you guys exclusive access to things on these chains, right? Yes, it will be great to be able to diversify across, the assets that these chains have, but we want to be able to get you exclusive yields, exclusive deals with any of the partners within these ecosystems, and that is something that takes time, right? It's not only working with, let's say, the Monad ecosystem team, right? It is then working with all of the different companies within Monad, right? Who's the DEX that we should work with? Who's the lending protocols that we should work with? Who are the asset issuers that we should work with? And so a lot goes into launching a new a new chain outside of the engineering work. The engineering work is something that will be, you know, fairly quick over time. But the BD efforts, which Vinny is leading, is really something that takes time. Unichain, another one that I mentioned. Obviously, Uniswap is an investor, so yes, there are lots of chains, but not only the chains, it's the partnerships within those chains that are very specific. And if you guys have ideas for that, we have an email too, partnerships@glider.fi. Maybe you're a builder who wants to get distribution through Glider or be featured as a portfolio or who knows what. You can reach us out to us and email us there. I will put in a little point here too that we will have API keys as well. So you can build your own portfolios via API. But not only that, you can embed these portfolios into maybe a website or maybe you have a Telegram bot or you want to embed it into a Discord chat. These are all things you can do with our API. And so, we have a lot to build. We have so much to build. I've already mentioned different building blocks, privacy, new chains. I think you guys will all understand that this is still very early and that we are building all of these things for the long term and we have a lot to do. So it's coming. It's just a matter of prioritizing what's most important, what our users are asking for the most, and doing a bit of product management on that. So lots to do. And, the Glider team will hopefully grow over time as well to be able to do more. So right now, if you guys are unaware, Glider is 4 engineers. So 4 people have built this entire platform. And the rest of the team is about 10 people total. So, and I think it's also important to call out we're global, which is very cool. So Gids is in Nigeria. I'm in New York. Our head of BD is in New York. We have an engineer in Turkey. We have Winter, who's out in Hong Kong, who does all of our marketing. We have mods in India. We have a mod in the Philippines. We have an engineer in Brazil. We have an engineer in Canada. Our designer is in France. Okay, I think I named everyone. My co-founder's in Florida. But yeah, we are very, very global.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah, a question here is any plan to make UI UX easier? I currently need programming logic knowledge. Like the current one needs some programming knowledge. So an easier one, I think.
No, it's a very good point. We know that the builder today is not the most easy thing to use. We continue to say this, and that means that, we need to improve it. And so, one, I saw a mention of LLMs. Yes. Again, we've done this internally already, where we can actually use natural language to produce these building blocks. We don't feel comfortable releasing it yet because we don't, it's not accurate enough where we're like, okay, this is ready for mainstream GA, accessibility. We think though that it's important to see these blocks still because, as many of you know, LLMs like ChatGPT are not always accurate or right? And so any of these LLMs that you see out there that are doing very simple things like swapping and lending, that's great. There's probably a fair amount of hard coding going on behind the scenes. We want to go beyond that. We want these LLMs to be able to do far more sophisticated things, but then have the step for you to be able to validate that. And so these building blocks are a nice validation technique for you to be able to like, okay, did it do it right? Yes, it did it right. I think blindly trusting LLMs is a little bit scary, especially in the world of crypto, right? Like if that LLM decides to trade a token that you didn't mean to trade, very little you can do about that, right? You can't call a bank and say, "Hey, that was wrong. Can you fix that?" Right? There's fewer guardrails in crypto, and so Glider will make that easier. And then 2, Glider will introduce more guardrails to make sure everything is buttoned up and safe for a more mainstream audience.
Okay. So thank you very much, Brian. You've answered almost all these questions, and I don't think there is any question right now. But like, thank you so much, Brian, for coming. I'm not sure if you have any alphas to give to the community or anything that the world are yet to know. Like, we want our community to know that. Do you have anything to say?
Yep. Something new today. We have removed the limit on referrals today. So you are now able to refer as many people as possible as you want. It used to be 3, but now it is as many as possible. So that is slowly opening up Glider to more and more people. As I mentioned in the past, we still have so many people on the wait list. We have given out about 40,000 invites of the over 250,000 people on the wait list. So we still have a lot of people to give out invites to. Um, it'll take us some time, but we'll get through them. So yeah, referrals now are free game. Remember the benefits of referrals. So for referrals, you get 30% of the points and the fees of anybody you refer. You get 5% of anybody that they refer, and then you get 3% of anybody that those people refer. So it's 3 tiers of referrals that you will earn the points and fees from. So it's points and fees. Those fees will get deposited directly into your reserve wallet. The reserve wallet will soon, this is a little bit of an alpha, will soon be naturally earning yield. And so that yield will, your fees will naturally earn yield on top of the value that you deposit. What else can I mention? That's the big stuff for now. I will say stay tuned for more. The next couple days will be very exciting. There's a lot to come. And then remember that 5 days from now is just the beginning, right? As I mentioned on this call, there's so much more to do and so much more to build. Give us some time on that. And remember that you guys are very, very, very early. Very, very early.
Yeah, I
Cool.
think
Did
we
I
should
forget to
take too
mention
much.
anything? Um, I think that's the bulk of it. 71 invites. Crazy. 31 invites.
Okay, so I
Wow.
think I should, Brian, I think we should take two more questions. So the first one
Nice.
is, how are you managing risk
Yeah.
balance?
Invite your friends. You can share that on X. Um, more stuff coming soon.
Yeah, can you hear me?
What else? What else?
Can you hear me? Am I
Anything else, Giz,
logging?
that you see in the chat to address?
So it seems I'm logging. I'm coming.
We may have
Uh-huh.
lost Gids. I think he had some internet issues. Yep, he just dropped.
Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Good. You all good? Anything else you see in the chat that we think we should address?
Yeah, so I actually saw a question. So the question is, how are you managing risk in your rebalancing logic when liquidity dries up or Oracle data lags?
Yeah. So one thing I'll say here, right, is again, Glider is built for long-term investing, right? Please, 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 trade tokens that have lots of liquidity, and the vast majority of you do, just to be clear. But if you do trade tokens with low liquidity, which is fine, right? It's good to diversify, and maybe you'll catch a 10x out of one of them or two of them, who knows? What was I going to say? The protections around liquidity and slippage are built into Glider. And so if there is massive slippage that is going to occur, and we can clarify more about what this means in the FAQ, we will not do that swap. And so we want to be careful not to, one, we want to make sure you can trade, but two, we want to make sure that, you're not paying, crazy amounts of percentages just in slippage. We will add more granular controls for you to be able to adjust that personally. So like if you're familiar with maybe Telegram bots, you can like set your slippage controls. And so if you do want to ape into something and you don't care about slippage, we'll add that functionality. But right now it's better to keep users safe and reduce the slippage if we can.
Okay, thank you so much, Brian. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you so much for answering all these questions. Thanks for listening to the community, and thanks for dropping alphas for us. So I don't think there is any question right now. I think we've covered everything, and yeah, thank you so much, Brian, for coming. Really appreciate. So,
Of course.
guys, okay, you want to say something?
Well, I was just gonna say one last thing, right? If you guys have feedback, please send feedback in the feedback form on the app. We read and listen to all of that. If you encounter any types of small bugs or issues, please let us know as well. Our team is very active in ensuring that everybody is having an incredible experience with this application. While we're in beta, there are still some edge cases that we are working on, and there always will be little edge cases that we need to improve. But please, please, please let us know and give us that feedback so that we can prioritize it and fix the problems that you may see on the application.
Yeah, no problem. Definitely, I do collect feedback, and yeah, just DM me. If you cannot DM me, you can open a ticket even. So just make sure you drop your feedback. So thank you so much, Brian, once again. If you guys enjoyed this session, I think you should type Brian. Thank you so much, Brian. So, guys, we're going to call it the day here and we're going to continue tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. We have portfolio hour. So, if you want to talk about your portfolio, make sure you DM me so I can add you to the list and make sure you join. It is very important. And on Saturday, we have chill, we have karaoke, we have a game. Then next week, have lots of events. And you guys shouldn't forget to post the countdown video and add your caption to it. And you're free to speculate, you're free to do anything, right? So, more big things coming. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. We really appreciate it. Bye bye and see you next time.